Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namah Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormamritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been discussing the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna taken from the Gospel. I am dealing with the topic Sri Ramakrishna's profound wisdom. In Sri Ramakrishna, everything is spiritual. And the spirituality has been demonstrated in a very practical way. It is not simply theorizing or debating about spiritual life. In Sri Ramakrishna you find it is actual life. He lived the life, and so all his teachings are very impressive and inspiring. He has shown to us that spiritual life must be led in this life. We are born into this world. We should fix up our priority. The priority should be for spiritual life. And Sri Ramakrishna himself has shown how realizing God was the target, was a goal, and he devoted whole time and energy in realizing the goal. And after intense spiritual practices, prayers and meditation, Sri Ramakrishna did realize the Supreme God pervading the whole creation. So, when he says it is like this, it will certainly gives us tremendous assurance, because these are said by Sri Ramakrishna himself, and Sri Ramakrishna was the embodiment of truthfulness. So, he said, the butter, Sri Ramakrishna said, butter churned early in the morning is the best. That churned after sunrise is not so good. Addressing his young disciples, who later became monks, renounced everything for the sake of spiritual ideal, the master used to say, addressing those youngsters, you are like butter churned early in the morning, while the household disciples, they are also trying to live spirituality, but they are like butter churned late in the day. Sri Ramakrishna gives another simile. The young bamboo can be easily bent, but the full-grown bamboo breaks when it is bent with force. So, it is easy to bend the young heart towards God, but the untrained heart of the old escapes the hold whenever it is so drawn. To someone, Sri Ramakrishna said, well, you have now come to seek God when you have spent the best part of your life in the world. Had you entered the world after realizing God, what peace and joy you would have found. Now you have lost all the energy and the system has become weak, body has become weak, subject to ill health because of the advanced age. Even if you want to practice spirituality, you will not be able to do so because the body, senses and the mind do not cooperate to the extent you want them. So if the undivided mind of a boy is directed early enough to God, he may gain His love and realize Him easily. But it is not quite so easy for grown-up people to do so. That means we have to definitely get spiritual education in our earlier days, when we are quite young, when our senses and mind are quite strong and active, not yet tainted by worldly affairs. That's a time to take some spiritual ideas, and that will work out very well later on. There's a famous verse in the Mahabharata, the great epic. It says, Purve vayasi yaha shantaha sa shanta iti me matihi dhatushu kshiyamaneshu shamaha kasya na vidyate. It's a beautiful Sanskrit verse. Lots of spiritual teachings are there in Mahabharata. Amidst so many characters there. This verse says that he who is calm and composed in the early years of his life is to be regarded as a calm and composed person. For who is not marked by calmness when the senses, organs become decrepit. So, the real calmness is achieved only when you take the spiritual ideas in your younger days. That will help you later on to establish yourself on firm footing of spirituality. So, since we are not giving proper attention for spiritual culture, so we are suffering and suffering. Then Sri Ramakrishna tells one Mr. Krishna Kishore was a great devotee. He had a great reverence even for the mantra Mara, not to mention his devotion to the name Rama. Rama is the name of the Divine Lord, an incarnation. This particular devotee was so much devoted, even he would even revere Mara. It would immediately awaken him to the highest level of consciousness. There are certain actions which unfailingly produce results, irrespective of the nature of the doer, the motive behind the deed, the circumstances of the doing, etc. Of course, where the right will forms the basis to the physical performance of a deed, excellent results are possible. But even where the proper inner attitude is not forthcoming, the executing of a good deed, even by means of a non-cooperating mind and a rebellious will, does not go waste. The Divine Lord judges much more understandingly and sympathetically than we are aware of or are prepared to admit. So, God is always looking on us to find out whether we are having any kind of inclination towards spirituality, and if it is there, God will certainly help us to rise and to realize Him. There is a famous life of a very great Rishi who was the author of the great epics Ramayana and Mahabharata. Ramayana, the great Ramayana, was written by a great Rishi. His name was Valmiki. So, how he became great, it's a very thrilling story. He was really a very incompetent person, but later on, how everything turned out to be good, that is the greatest wonder, and also it is the greatest example that nobody should feel bad if for some reason, if a person is hopeless. And here, the story of Valmiki, he was a Brahmin by birth, but the way how he acted later on in his life was quite contrary to the Brahminic traditions, because as a child he was abandoned by his parents, and he was found and brought up by some wild mountain folk who trained him up as a thief, because in his younger days he was not shown the ideal, and the young boy did not know what to do. So when he was in that formative stage, he was taken up by these tribes people, and he turned out to be a dacoit, highway robber. The travelers, whoever would walk in that path, he would loot them and he would kill them, all sorts of things, violence, etc., crime. So that means, though he was born in a very good family, because of the external circumstances and surroundings, he turned out to be a very wicked person. But then after many years came a sudden turn in his career. That's a very important point that we should note. A great sage, Narada, was once coming along the path in the forest where this dacoit was living, and immediately he was confronted And the dacoit ordered him to deliver up all his possessions or face death by being killed on the spot. So immediately give out everything. That's the way to save your life. Like that, this dacoit Valmiki was ordering to the sage Narada, a great sage. Well, the sage had nothing to deliver. He didn't have any money. But he had one thing to deliver. That is compassion. So, he delivered that compassion to him in full. He was fully compassionate towards this dacoit. He didn't condemn him. On the other hand, he wanted to save him and uplift him from that dirty stage of thief. So he asked the dacoit to find out if his foster parents, if his wife and children, for the sake of whose maintenance he was carrying on his wicked work of robbing, whether they would share a part of his mountain-high sin. Narada was putting question directly to him. You are incurring lots of sin by harming the people, and do you think your parents and children, they share your sin because you are working so hard to maintain them? The dacoit was totally unsuspected. So he thought whatever he is earning would be shared by them. That means they would willingly share his burden of iniquity, because it was for their welfare that he had been plundering and killing many people for many years. He thought like that, but when he went back and when he inquired with the people in his home, with the family, he was terribly shocked to hear that they would not share any of his sins. So, and they also pleaded that it was none of their business how the head of the family procured the means to help him carry on his duty of maintaining the family. We don't want to bother about that. It is your botheration. You are the family head and it is your responsibility to maintain. That's all. So they were very blunt and they told, we are not going to share any of your sins you have committed. All the sins you have to bear yourself. That was a terrible shock. And so that was the greatest turning point in his life. Of course, he had that very good samskaras, being born of Brahmin parents, but for some reason he was made to grow in a different atmosphere. Well, then he was fortunate to meet the sage, and the sage immediately called him. Well, don't worry, I shall give a solution. I shall make you free from all sins. Never bother. Then the Valmiki got little hope and assurance. And then the Narada asked the dacoit to repeat the word Mara. Mara. Mara was a tree well known to the dweller of the woodland. So, because that dacoit had no education, he was totally illiterate, but he knew this Mara means the tree, so there was no difficulty in understanding that. And so he knew it was a tree and little bit of zoology and botany he knew, that's all. So now he began to chant this name with full devotion and dedication, because Narada had assured him that he would be free from all sins, and this dacoit did repeat the name Mara, with amazing thoroughness and steadiness. He sat and uttered the name till an anthill grew over him. But parallel to the growing anthill outside was a developing ripeness within. He was feeling inwardly tremendous peace. His Mara, of its own accord, revered itself to Rama, and the long and the one-pointed uttering of the Rama mantra purged him of all the dross and made him the pure gold of a sage. When he constantly repeated Mara, it became Rama. Mara, 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 Rama, it became Rama. So anyway, Narada had told that it has got a mystic power. You just keep repeating. Don't worry for anything else. Everything will be okay. So Narada came after many years. Again, he came back to see how his disciple was doing. And he came out with a shining face. And then he was named after Valmiki. Valmiki means anthill. Because he came out of the anthill, his name was established as Valmiki. And he became so worthy that out of his pen flowed the enthralling epic of the great Ramayana. Swami Vivekananda says he pays a high tribute to the literary grace of this Valmiki. Swamiji said, "No language can be purer, none chaster, none more beautiful, and at the same time simpler than the language in which the great poet has depicted the life of Rama." So, even Lord Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, even the most wicked man, if he turns to God, God will take the responsibility of removing his wickedness, makes him free, gives him joy. So, that means nobody can lose any hope. But the only hope is he should come to spirituality. That's the only hope. If you don't aspire for spirituality, then suffering is your lot. Then again, Sri Ramakrishna said how God's name is very efficacious. He and his name are not different, and he gives the example of a story. Satyabhama failed to balance the Lord with gold and jewels, but Rukmini succeeded when she placed the tulsi leaf and the name of Krishna on the other pan of the balance. The best thing for the people whose minds are attracted by sense objects is to cultivate the dualistic attitude and chant loudly the name of the Lord as mentioned in Narada Pancharatra. So, Sri Ramakrishna tells more often, take Lord's name, repeat his name constantly. That will cleanse away all your sins, lust and anger, everything will be washed away. Knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, in whatever state of mind a person utters God's name, he acquires the merit of such utterance. An example is given. A man who voluntarily goes to a river and bathes there, he gets the benefit of the bath. So does he also, who has been pushed into the water by another, or who, sleeping soundly, has water thrown on him. Chant the name of Hari morning and evening, clapping your hands all the while. Sri Ramakrishna himself would clap while chanting God's name. He says, all your sins and afflictions will then leave you. If you clap your hands standing under a tree, the birds sitting on it will fly away. So, if you chant the name of the God, clapping your hands at the same time, the birds of evil thoughts will fly away from the tree of your body. How nicely Sri Ramakrishna has given instruction. So divine name is very powerful and it's very easy to practice it. You don't have to have hard yogic practices. Repeating name is the easiest way. So we call it as Japa Yoga. Sarveshu Kaleshu Mahamanusmara. Sarva Kaleshu Mahamanusmara. Lord Krishna says, Remember me all the time. That's your practice. If you do that, you will definitely get the realization of God. And there's a very famous verse, again in Sanskrit it tells, Achyutananta Govinda Namocharana Bheshajat Nashyanti Sakala Rogaha Satyam Satyam Vadamyaham. That is, all ailments are destroyed by the medicine in the form of the recitation of names Achyuta, Ananta, Govinda. I say this to be the truth, to be the truth. The three names specified here are very sacred ones. It is to the accompaniment of the uttering of these three names that Hindus do the achamanam or purificatory sipping of water 3 times before engaging in any religious rite. The first name Achyuta, it means it is what is firm and imperishable. It refers to Vishnu, the all-pervading deity. Ananta is another name which is eternal and infinite, also indicates Vishnu. Govinda is also another celebrated name of Krishna, who is Vishnu incarnate. Usually, subsequent to this sipping, 12 other names of the Lord are also uttered in all devotion, touching with the fingers the cheeks, eyes, nose, sides, ears, shoulders, navel, and head. The names which make an inspiring 12, they are Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda, Vishnu, Madhusudana, Trivikrama, Vamana, Sridhara, Rishikesha, Padmanabha, Damodara. These are different names of Lord Vishnu. So when a person is touching his various parts of the limbs, uttering these names, that will purify his body. The entire process of spiritual striving at dehypnotizing oneself. So it has got that effect. The mind of man incessantly having outgoing tendencies, becoming exterior oriented, it is very difficult for such a person to make it go inward. It is to help the endeavor at inwardization that the frequent repetition of divine name is enjoined. As a name and the thing named have a psychic identity, the uttering of the name establishes a link with the substance named. The name leads us to the person on whom the name is specified. That is, the nama leads us to the nami. So name is very important, and when you utter the name, you are really calling God, and God responds to that. Sri Ramakrishna says, God hears our prayers. Every day Sri Ramakrishna would pray to Mother, O Mother, Divine Mother Kali, protect us from all dangers and sufferings. Give your vision, keep me always pure. So that way we should develop prayerful attitude, and we should tune our mind to spiritual ways of thinking and doing, and then we will see how we transform ourselves and we feel a tremendous peace and joy in our life. So Sri Ramakrishna has given lots of instructions about spirituality, and everything is important and everything is useful for us. Take them and practice them, and all your doubts will be vanished. The more and more you understand Sri Ramakrishna's teachings, the more and more you come closer to God, and finally you will enjoy the ecstasy. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, page 734. Sri Ramakrishna said to M, I do see God directly. What shall I reason about? I clearly see that He Himself has become everything, that He Himself has become the universe and all living beings. But without awakening one's own inner consciousness, one cannot realize the all-pervading consciousness. How long does a man reason? So long as he has not realized God. But mere words will not do. As for myself, I clearly see that he himself has become everything. The inner consciousness must be awakened through the grace of God. Through this awakening, a man goes into samadhi. He often forgets that he has a body. He gets rid of his attachment to lust and gold and does not enjoy any talk unless it is about God. Worldly talk gives him pain. Through the awakening of the inner consciousness, one realizes the all-pervading consciousness. The discussion came to a close. Sri Ramakrishna said to M, I have observed that a man acquires one kind of knowledge about God through reasoning and another kind through meditation, but he acquires a third kind of knowledge about God when God reveals himself to him, his devotee. If God himself reveals to his devotee the nature of divine incarnation, how he plays in human form, then the devotee doesn't have to reason about the problem or need an explanation. Do you know what it is like? Suppose a man is in a dark room. He goes on rubbing a match against a matchbox, and all of a sudden light comes. Likewise, if God gives us this flash of divine light, all our doubts are destroyed. Can one ever know God by mere reasoning? Sri Ramakrishna asked Narendra to sit by his side. He tenderly inquired about his health and showed him much affection. Narendra said to the master, Why? I have meditated on Kali for 3 or 4 days, but nothing has come out of it. Master said, All in good time, my child. Kali is none other than Brahman. That which is called Brahman is really Kali. She is the primal energy. When that energy remains inactive, I call it Brahman. And when it creates, preserves or destroys, I call it Shakti or Kali. When you call Brahman, I call Kali. What you call Brahman, I call Kali. Brahman and Kali are not different. They are like fire and its power to burn. If one thinks of fire, one must think of its power to burn. If one recognizes Kali, one must also recognize Brahman. Again, if one recognizes Brahman, one must recognize Kali. Brahman and its power are identical. It is Brahman whom I address as Shakti or Kali. It was late at night. Girish asked Haripada to call a cab, for he had to go to the theatre. As Haripada was about to leave the room, the master said with a smile, Mind a cab, don't forget to bring one. All laughed. Haripada smilingly said, Yes, sir, I am going out just for that. How can I forget it? Girish said, That I should have to go to the theatre and leave you here. Master said, No, you must hold to both. King Janaka paid attention to both religious and worldly duties and drank his milk from a brimming cup. All laughed. Girish said, I have been thinking of leaving the theatre to the youngsters. Master said, No, it's all right. You are doing good to many. Narendra said in a whisper, Just a moment ago, he, meaning Girish, was calling him, Sri Ramakrishna, God, an incarnation, and now he is attracted to the theatre. Narendra was sitting beside the master. The latter looked at him intently and suddenly moved closer to his beloved disciple. Narendra did not believe in God's assuming a human body, but what did that matter? Sri Ramakrishna's heart overflowed with more and more love for his disciple. He touched Narendra's body and said, quoting from a song, Do you feel that your pride is wounded? These words are addressed to Radha, the beloved of Krishna, by her companions, the gopis. Do you feel that your pride is wounded? So be it then. We too have our pride. Then the master said to Narendra, As long as a man argues about God, he has not realized Him. You two were arguing. I didn't like it. How long does one hear noise and uproar in a house where a big feast is being given? So long as the guests are not seated for the meal. As soon as food is served and people begin to eat, 3/4 of the noise disappears. Allah. When the dessert is served, there is still less noise. But when the guests eat the last course, buttermilk, then one hears nothing but the sound soup, soup. When the meal is over, the guests retire to sleep and all is quiet. The nearer you approach to God, the less you reason and argue. When you attain Him, then all sounds, all reasoning and disputing come to an end. Then you go into samadhi, sleep, into communion with God in silence. The Master gently stroked Narendra's body and affectionately touched his chin, uttering sweetly the holy words, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. He was fast becoming unconscious of the outer world. His hand was on Narendra's foot. Still in that mood, he gently stroked Narendra's body. Slowly a change came over his mind. With folded hands he said to Narendra, Sing a song please, then I shall be all right. How else shall I be able to stand on my own legs? Again he became speechless. He sat motionless as a statue. Presently he became intoxicated with divine love and said, O Radha, watch your step, otherwise you may fall into the Jamuna. Oh, how mad she is with love of Krishna. The Master was in a rapturous mood. Quoting from a song, he said, Tell me, friend, how far is the grove where Krishna, my beloved, dwells? His fragrance reaches me even here, but I am tired and can walk no farther. The Master completely forgot the outer world. He did not notice anyone in the room, not even his beloved, Narendra, seated by his side. He did not know where he himself was seated. He was totally merged in God. Suddenly he stood up, shouting, deep drunk with the wine of divine love. As he took his seat again, he muttered, I see a light coming, but I know not where it comes. We shall stop. So divine name has got its tremendous mystic power. So when you receive the mantra from the Guru, have total devotion to that mantra and repeat the mantra. That's the best practice that you can do without any difficulty. Easiest path is Japa Yoga. Nobody need know also that you are doing. Mentally you are repeating. Who knows? You only know. So by mentally repeating, you are watching your mind. By watching the mind, you are stopping the wanderings. And in the beginning, though the mind wanders again and again, you have to try, fix the mind on God and pray to Him. And God will provide you everything. He gives you peace, He gives you happiness, He gives whatever you want. God is really very gracious. God is the only one who is gracious. One can depend on God's grace, not anybody else. That's the reality. So in order to understand that, you have to do little spiritual practice. And Sri Ramakrishna has come and has shown the way. Take it up easily and do it. Start immediately. Already time has gone without any practice. So many years have gone in my life. Gone wasted. But still, whatever the remaining part of my life, let me devote properly. At least in my next birth, I will be fresh with good samskaras, so that I can continue my spiritual journey. And unless you take up spiritual path, you can't get rid of suffering. You can't get peace, real peace at all. If you're really aspiring for real happiness or peace, you have to take spiritual path. You have to fight all the evil samskaras in the mind. You must divert the mind towards God, and that's the way. Now what Sri Ramakrishna said was, when a person is young, the spiritual ideas must be given, which is very easy. It is not impossible, but it is difficult. And result also accordingly. You can't expect a tremendous result at your grand old age, because all through, suppose you are 70 now, up to 70 years what were you doing? How many years you have spent in spiritual path, how many years you have spent in other ways. So that counts. The reason is, the mind reacts when you are struggling in the spiritual path. All the other forces, they come up and they bother you. They keep on bothering. Because all those forces were created by myself. By indulging in so many activities, by involving in so many things, by being associated with all sorts of people, I myself have drawn into my mind all those impressions. And so afterwards, when I want to sit quietly, those impressions come up and bother us. So it's all there. So we have to organize our mind properly. Organizing the mind is important, and you must be knowing what you are doing. When you know that is the truth, follow the truth correctly. That's all. Nothing to worry. Hold on to God and surrender to Him and pray to Him. Sri Ramakrishna himself tells, have the dualistic attitude. God is there. I am here. Have that attitude. The whole thing is Brahman only. That is ultimate reality. Ultimate reality is that one. But as manifestations, multiplicity is there. Unity in diversity. So, all of us are here. All of us are inseparably connected to God. If you know it, you will be very happy and you will be in ecstasy, you will be in samadhi. To know it is spiritual realization. To know that you are part and parcel of God, that is the realization of spirituality. In order to do that, you have to set up the goal. You have to work for it. Without doing anything, simply reading or attending seminars, it may help you a little bit. But if you don't turn your mind seriously, you won't get anything. It is difficult, it's easier, much easier, even much earlier, not 34. When he was a baby, say 8 or 9 years old, that is the proper age. At the age of 8 or 9, the mind is so tender, it has got its natural purity. At that time, give the ideas of God in a proper way, not in a fanatical way. Give it so you have to pay a heavy price for that because of that. That's why people are feeling out of helplessness. They know it, but they can't practice it. That's the stage. I know it is truth, but I can't help. I can't do it. That's the state. But you have to, at least now you are trying, it's better than nothing. As I said, if you try sincerely, definitely you'll be able to achieve something. In your next life you'll be able to continue in a more vigorous way. It depends upon what intensity you are taking up spiritual path. That's very important. Direction must be clear. Practice must be clear. And you must be sincere in your pursuit. That's all. Everything will be done. You see, the point is, they may start later. It's not that they cannot do. But after how did they take up spiritual life? Because they passed through some difficult situations and they passed through some bitter experiences. Then they take up this spiritual path. It's all right. What we are telling is, when you are young, when the mind is young, when the body is healthy, when your senses are full of vigor, etc., at that time, if you sow the spiritual ideas, they become very, very helpful in the later days. It's true, advanced stage, it's not that they cannot practice spirituality, but it's not easy. That's what I mean to say. That's what we are trying to tell. It is really difficult. You see, those who have got spiritual ideas in their young age, for them, the whole life is, they enjoy the major portion of their life in a spiritual way. Whereas the other person, major portion of life is gone in worldly ways, and only little bit. The moment he tries to enjoy a little bit of spirituality, the life is gone. No, always there will be some exceptional cases. No, even in Sri Ramakrishna's direct disciples, we have got Advaitananda, Swami Advaitananda. He came to Sri Ramakrishna in very advanced age. We are not telling it is not possible. We are telling only, in younger days, the ideas must be given. That, are we taking care of that? That's what I'm saying. Our elders, our parents. See, people simply They talk harmony, peace. Simply, unless you work for it, how can you get it? So from the child, if you have to create the society like that way, you have to make a good format for that. People should practice them. Then only, when the children are given good ideas in the younger days, later on they will be very good. You will have less problems in the world. Once upon a time they were doing like that, long time back. Gurukula ashram. The children used to live with the teacher for 20-25 years, and then he would come back home with full of knowledge, spiritual knowledge. Then he is leading a life, whatever life he wants. Whether he wants to become a monk, whether he wants to become a householder, take any life you want, doesn't matter. But you know what it is. That's the way how people used to live. But over the period of time, everything got degenerated. So anyway, whoever takes up spirituality in a right spirit, he will be benefited. That's all. And Sri Ramakrishna has come and he has revealed the secret of success. He has revealed the secret of success in spiritual life. Easiest way he has given, and the very effective method he has given. That is Japa Yoga. Keep repeating Lord's name. You will get everything. He himself was doing that. All through his life he was repeating Mother's name. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean, and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, birthing in his name that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stealest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.